All right, today we're settling a barbecue debate the pit masters have been arguing about forever. Which smoker is better, the Weber 22-inch Smoky Mountain or the 55-gallon Gateway drum smoker? Same pork butts, same seasoning, same charcoal, same pecan and cherry wood chunks. The only real difference here is the pit itself. So let's go ahead and get these things fired up and let's let these pits battle it out. Alright guys, so we just got both of our pork butts all seasoned up. We seasoned them exactly the same. I'll put a description to my seasoning down below if you want to check it out. But everything is created equal in this. The only thing I did a little bit different than what I usually do on my pork butts is I went with some deep scores in that fat cap. I went into the meat. I'm probably an inch to an inch and a quarter deep where I scored it because I want to get some good, deep bark flavor and penetration into that meat. So we want to get bark more than we typically do when we just do a light scoring through the fat cap alone. Other than that, everything is created equal on these. There is no difference between these butts. They're almost identical in weight. The only real difference is going to be the two drums that they're getting smoked on tomorrow. So we'll check back in the morning when we get these drums fired up and get those butts going. Guys, it's the next day and the time has come. Our showdown between our Gateway 55-gallon drum and our 22-inch Weber Smoky Mountain. We're going to go ahead and get these pork butts on. We got the pits fired up. We got them running right at about 275 degrees on each of these drums. And now it's time to just let them do their magic. Let's put the meat on. Let's set them and forget them because these drums, this drum and this barrel are designed to run with very little adjustments. It's just as close to a pellet smoker as you can possibly get, in my opinion, which is part of what makes these things incredible to smoke on. So we're going to go ahead and get these pork butts seasoned up on the pits, ready to rock and roll, and let this competition begin between drum smoker and barrel smoker. Alright guys, these pork butts have been on now for a few hours and it's time for us to take a peek. This is the first time I've opened the lid on either of these pits. So let's take a look and see how it's going. Hot damn. Not dry. We got good moisture still. The fat is rendering. You can see I did those deep scores, which caused this to almost shrink up in terms of how tall it sits and how wide. But I'm going to get way more bark throughout this fat cap and even into the meat than I normally would with a shallow score. I am super happy with the way that looks. So we're going to go ahead and get this one shut down and take a look at the other drum and see how that butt looks. Same thing on this one. You can actually see the bone poking a little bit right here. We got nice bark development. The butt is still plenty moisture. There's no reason for me to spritz or anything like that. I am very happy. One thing that I am going to point out though, this Gateway drum is running a much cleaner fire than the WSM is. There's plenty of smoke coming out of the smokestack on the WSM and almost none coming out of the Gateway. All right, now that we got both of these closed back down again, let's let them do their thing. We'll check on them in another 2 or 3 hours because there's really not much we need to do on either of these. That is the beauty of running a drum or a barrel. Super set it and forget it. Catch you in a couple hours. take a look. Oh, 179, 179. Bark's looking good, color looks great. 184, ready to wrap. But let's go ahead and check our gateway drum. We're good to wrap that one too. The color on the Weber Smoky Mountain is darker, noticeably darker. More red on the gateway drum smoker. The gateway drum off the Weber Smoky Mountain. Half a can of Dr. Pepper in each one of these. Good drizzle of some honey here. Repeat the process over here. This one's our Weber Smoky Mountain. Throw it back in. Gateway butt. Weber Smoky Mountain. We're going to continue these right at 300 degrees until they're all finished, and we pull them. All right, guys, so it's been 10 hours since we put these butts on, and I think they're finally done. Our RFX wireless probe is telling us that it's right at about 202, 203 degrees, so we are going to use our ThermoWorks Insta-Read thermometer, verify temps, more importantly, check for tenderness, and if we're good, we're going to pull them off. So let's go ahead and check these out and make sure they're ready to go. So we're going to check for tenderness and see. Oh yeah, this is on the Weber Smoky Mountain. Let's go ahead and check the gateway drum smoker. Super tender, very soft. It's exactly what we're looking for. So we will let these sit ambient temp until the temperature comes down around to 160 degrees, and then we'll get them in the warmer. All right, guys, so we went ahead and got our butts pulled out of the warmer. They've been resting overnight for about 8.5 hours. This is our Weber Smoky Mountain, and this is our gateway drum. Start here with the gateway drum butt. Clean bone pull. And I'm gonna actually just pull in the same section some from here. Here's our gateway drum. It's juicy, it's tender. You can definitely taste the smoke, but it's not overpowering. But one of the best advantages of using the drum smokers or the barrel is that charcoal flavor. You can't beat it. Weber Smoky Mountain. The flavors are almost identical, to be honest with you. I think the Weber Smoky Mountain one seems a little bit more moist, maybe. Other than that, it doesn't matter which one of these units you go with. The pits are both awesome. They produce killer products, and you can't go wrong with either one. I think for me, ease of use, I love the cleanup on the Weber Smoky Mountain versus the gateway drum. The gateway just takes a little bit more getting, cleaning out the bottom and things like that. For the Weber Smoky Mountain, I can pull it completely apart. It comes 3 different pieces, just makes cleanup a little bit easier. But other than that, can't be mad at either one of these butts. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest of these shredded up. All right, guys. So that is a wrap on the head-to-head showdown between the gateway drum smoker and the Weber Smoky Mountain. The 55-gallon gateway versus the 22-inch WSM. This was super cool for me because I like both of them. I'm a big drum guy. I love the WSMs, but I really wanted to see head-to-head in comparison. Is there one that I prefer? Is there one that I actually like better? Is there one that I think that cooks better, maintains temps better, has more flexibility? Just to kind of recap real quick, what we did is we got both of these drums fired up with the exact same charcoal, the exact same wood chunks. We got them both topped off. Fuel consumption, realistically, I used about half of the charcoal that I had in each one of these after the end of this 10 and a half hour cook. Both of those butts turned out great. I would serve them to anybody. Nobody would know the difference, but here is the big difference. On the Weber Smoky Mountain, you did get more charcoal smoke flavor. It was a little bit juicier. Here's why. This is my opinion. I'm not a scientist, but you can actually see that through this cook, almost the entire cook, the Weber Smoky Mountain was producing more smoke than the gateway. Why is that? Pretty simple. The gateway drum is designed to run at a higher temperature, and it runs a very efficient, very clean fire. After the first 45 minutes to an hour, you almost couldn't see any smoke whatsoever coming out of that drum. That's not a bad thing, it's just delivering a really clean smoke. I run a dirtier smoke for the first 2 to 3 hours in my offset, and then I clean the smoke up and get a more efficient smoke. Dirty smoke isn't as bad as people make it out to be. Everybody that taste tested these two butts preferred the more smoky flavor in the WSM. Where I think the Weber Smoky Mountain has a clear advantage is in the price point. These gateway drums are $1,300. off of the Gateway website. You don't have $1,300+ then grab a Weber Smoky Mountain. The 18 inches are only like $400. The 22 inches, like the one in this video, is like $540 brand new. And guess what? Look on Marketplace, you can find them all day used for half of that price. If you want something that's solid, it's one piece and it's built strong, a Gateway drum smoker is great, or a Hunsaker, which is one of my personal favorite drums. As you guys already know, I ran the Hunsaker Vortex diffuser in both of these. 100% happy with the results, hands down. But I am gonna give the slight win to the Weber Smoky Mountain, which brings me to my next conclusion. I have a lot of drums, I have a lot of barrels. Do I need them all? I don't. So the purpose of this was for my own education and yours, but more importantly, it was gonna help me decide if I was gonna keep one over the other. So what I've decided is I am going to sell the 55-gallon Gateway drum, and I'm gonna stick with my WSM. I have an 18-inch that I use in my toy hauler when I camp, and then I got my 22-inch here that's gonna stay on my patio that I'm gonna continue to use for my large rib cooks. So if you like this video, if you got anything out of it, don't forget to like, share, comment. I appreciate you guys as always. The channel appreciates your support as well. There's gonna be links in the description, so check them out. And until next time, we'll see you guys later.